The Lie Machine, When Truth Goes to War with Power. 1. The interview begins. A former Royal Marine named Steve sat down to talk about deception, big deception. The kind that shapes nations, locks people indoors, and sells fear like candy. He wasn't shy about it. He'd worked in Afghanistan, Iraq, and private security. He knew how systems operate, how they manipulate. He claimed that when COVID-19 arrived, governments used war language to justify unlawful lockdowns and psychological warfare. His view? This wasn't a medical crisis, it was an information war. So what does that actually mean? It means the people were the battlefield, and fear was the weapon. Steve described spiritual warfare in the same breath as biological weapons, saying humans were being tuned, vibrationally, like instruments. Whether one accepts that literally or metaphorically, the idea hits: someone, somewhere, was orchestrating chaos, and the public danced to it. Footnote. This section introduces Steve's background and his core argument, that the global response to COVID-19 represented a coordinated psychological operation rather than a public health effort. 2. The frequency theory. Here's where things got cosmic. Steve talked about the Schumann resonance, Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat. He believed its spikes, normally harmless, were mislabeled as symptoms of a virus. The dizziness, fatigue, and confusion? Not disease, he said, detox. The Earth's frequency was rising, shaking off corruption, and people mistook cleansing for illness. So what does that actually mean? To Steve, the so-called pandemic was a spiritual stress test. Media fear-mongering wasn't just psychological, it was vibrational sabotage. Every human cell, he claimed, vibrates in sync with the planet. Disrupt that harmony, and you disrupt humanity. He put it bluntly, they told you it was deadly so you'd fear the cure. Footnote. This section explains Steve's belief that increases in Earth's electromagnetic frequency were misrepresented as a viral outbreak, deepening mass fear. 3. The Great Control System. Then came the shift from physics to politics. Steve pointed at John D. Rockefeller, the father of modern medicine, as an architect of control. According to him, once Rockefeller replaced nature's cures with patented pharmaceuticals, health became a product, not a right. You can't patent nature, Steve said, but you can patent poison. He argued that modern institutions, schools, corporations, courts, had all been weaponized to manage human energy. Every department of human resources, he said, was exactly that. A factory for extracting human vitality. And the biggest factory of all? Fear. It keeps people compliant and spiritually exhausted. Footnote. This section discusses Steve's claim that global systems, especially medicine and education, were restructured to harvest human energy through control and dependency. 4. The military dimension. Steve's military instincts kicked in again. He described underground wars, literal ones. Tunnels beneath cities, he said, were being destroyed by special forces in a global operation against corruption and trafficking. Earthquakes, he suggested, were sometimes explosions. Whether symbolic or not, the story carried a theme: truth is buried deep, and it takes force to dig it out. So what does that actually mean? It means, in Steve's view, a global military alliance was cleaning house quietly while governments and media played their scripted roles. Some leaders, he hinted, weren't even the same people anymore. It's theater, he said. They're showing us the lies so we finally see. Footnote. This section presents Steve's interpretation of covert global military operations aimed at dismantling corrupt networks while the public narrative distracts attention. 5. The countermeasure. To Steve, the real heroes weren't in office, they were ordinary people waking up. He described organizing local peaceful offensives, confronting police with evidence, and invoking legal filings under natural law and the Uniform Commercial Code. His argument was simple: Once citizens recognized the illusion of authority, the illusion collapsed. So what does that actually mean? It means power only works when people believe it's real. He called it fiction yielding to truth. And once truth enters the room, he said, there's no legal fiction left standing. He claimed courtrooms, governments, and even royal authority lost legitimacy the moment the people reclaimed their sovereignty. Footnote. This section outlines Steve's theory that lawful self-awareness and direct civic action can dissolve illegitimate state power built on deception. 6. The spiritual endgame. Despite the apocalyptic tone, Steve's closing was oddly hopeful. He said humanity was in the final act of a long deception, but the ending was good. Once truth surfaces, the media collapses, and communities rebuild from love, not control. He imagined a future where parks are full again, education is reimagined, and healing technologies long suppressed finally return. So what does that actually mean? Maybe that belief, real belief, is the first step to rebuilding. Steve smiled when he said it. If you come from love, you access your unified field. And honestly, whether one calls that physics, faith, or poetry, it sounds like something worth fighting for. Footnote. This section concludes with Steve's vision of post-deception renewal through truth, unity, and compassion as humanity's ultimate countermeasure to control.